Ridley Scott's The Martian is one of the best movies I've seen this year. 2015 has been riddled with amazing movies. There's Mad Max, Ant-Man, Avengers 2, Ex Machina, Inside Out, Jurassic World, and even more to come like Star Wars. But I have to say, The Martian really surprised me. It is easily one of the best films I've probably ever seen. Caught me off guard how good it was because Ridley Scott's last few films weren't really that great. Like, Exodus wasn't too good, and I really wasn't a big fan of Prometheus. Don't even get me started. The trailers made The Martian look like a really good movie, and so I went into the theater thinking it was going to be just like a middle-of-the-road, like, C, B movie, but man, it was an A. So, why was The Martian so good? Well, it had a really good tone of the film, and it was really simplistic. Now, a movie that takes place in space usually isn't too simplistic. Like if you look at Interstellar or 2001: A Space Odyssey, there's usually some like underlying like big, grand, godlike meaning to them. I mean, not all space movies are like that. Definitely not Star Wars or some of the Star Trek movies. But I like The Martian's, simple, grounded story. It was just a simple rescue adventure. Matt Damon plays Mark Watney. Mark Watney is part of a team of scientists who are going around Mars, farming, doing all that good scientific stuff that one would do up there. And during an unexpected, huge Mars-like sandstorm, Watney gets knocked out and the crew leaves him behind. I guess they forgot Ridley Scott's #1 rule about space, that nobody can hear you scream. Matt Damon plays Mark Watney as a very, very confident man. A man who probably went through his whole life without a single thought of, I can't do that. He's a man who just exudes and breathes confidence. Even in the most dire situations in the movie, he still has a very chipper and upbeat attitude and does it. He does it with a smile. And it's really fun to watch, honestly. In a way, the film actually reminded me of Guardians of the Galaxy because it had a really good, 1970, 1980 soundtrack to it throughout the movie, just like Guardians. Had a really chipper and upbeat attitude, and just like Guardians, I mean, obviously the story between Guardians of the Galaxy and The Martian are completely different, but they're still really easy to follow and just a lot of fun. Like, the kind of, turn your brain off kind of movie. You didn't really have a lot to follow. And even though The Martian had some heavy scientific elements to it, not as much as Interstellar, but it still had some scientific elements to it, they were explained in a way that the average person could understand. Jessica Chastain was really great playing the captain of the crew. She was haunted with her decisions to leave Watney behind, and you really feel that. Secondly, Michael Pena was in this movie. I mean, this guy's really got a push lately. I've seen him everywhere. First, I saw him in End of Watch, which was an amazing movie, by the way. End of Watch with Michael Pena and Jake Gyllenhaal. Secondly, he was in Ant-Man, and I just recently watched the most recent Vacation movie with Ed Helms, and Pena had a small role in that too. I mean, this guy's going places. He's really good. But rounding out the cast, you have Sebastian Stan, who was the Winter Soldier in Captain America 2. You have Kate Mara, who was in The Fantastic Four, and House of Cards. Jeff Daniels is in it. Jeff Daniels is one of my favorite actors, by the way. I mean, he can go from being Dumb and Dumber to a Civil War general to the director of NASA. I mean, this guy has range. Chiwetel Ejiofor was in it. Sean Bean was in it, and he didn't die. And rounding out the cast, Donald Glover was in it. Donald Glover, who played Troy in Community, and he also goes by the name Childish Gambino. That's his rapper persona. Glover was the only person in this film I kind of felt like he was a little out of place. He was the quirky nerd, but he was just so awkward and just scattershot and just weird, just for the sake of it. I didn't understand. There's a part where he gets up out of bed. Realizes he's late, and he spits he just drinks a cup of coffee and he spits it directly into his trash can that has holes in it, one of those like recycling bin trash cans that has have the little holes all around them, those metal ones that you kind of see them in the streets in New York City. But he spits his coffee directly into there, which immediately leaks out, and then he just trips on the floor. It was some weird slapstick comedy routine. I mean, he was the only character in this movie. I kind of felt like he was out of place, and yeah, he does something that's crucial to the plot. But I feel like anyone else in this movie, well, maybe not anyone else in this movie, but I feel like he figures out something that any one of the other scientists could have figured out in this movie, that I really don't feel like Donald Glover had too much of a purpose in this movie. He wasn't in it that much, and I'm not bashing his acting at all. He's a fine actor. But he was in this movie for such a short amount of time and was just so weird. It kind of felt so out of place. Anyway, the movie was still amazing. The simple, grounded story, just about a simple rescue tale, was just so easy to follow. I loved it. A friend of mine asked me the other day, what did I like better, The Martian or Castaway? And I got to thinking, that's a good question. What did I like better? Well, I'd have to say The Martian. Why? I mean, they're not too easily comparable because one's about a guy's just stranded on an island, and the other one's about a guy stranded on an entire planet. It's, pretty heightened. But I like The Martian a little more because I feel like it has more emotional depth to it. You feel the weight behind everyone's decision in The Martian. You feel the weight behind Jessica Chastain as she has to decide to leave Mark Watney behind, and the rest of the crew when they find out that he's still alive and that they left him behind. You feel the weight of everyone back on Earth at NASA who are trying to get him back to Earth. Every little decision everyone makes in this movie affects Mark Watney in some way, and you really can feel that resonating off the screen. Every character in this movie, and there are a lot, pull their own weight very well, especially Matt Damon. Castaway, you just have Tom Hanks and you have a ball. I mean, it's more of a solo, emotional journey, and I really like Castaway, but I'd have to say The Martian wins me over. Great movies, though. If I had to nitpick The Martian a little bit, other than Donald Glover, I'd have to say, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. I am, by any stretch of the imagination, I am no scientist. I am terrible at math. Oh my god, don't even get me started on math. Whew. But there's one part in this movie where, it's towards the end, towards the big rescue finale, when it's mentioned that a message from NASA will reach Jessica Chastain's crew in 12 minutes because of the immense distance between Earth and where their spaceship is. It will reach them in 12 minutes, and then Jessica Chastain and her crew will send a message back, and it will take another 12 minutes, so 24 minutes altogether, messages back and forth between the Earth and space. And then immediately after that's said, they just start talking back and forth, between intercoms, just immediately. There is no lag at all, and I'm like, didn't someone mention this was going to take a long time to convey messages? Then immediately, hey, how you doing? I'm good. Oh, we have trouble. Oh, shit. You okay? Yep. So anyway, in my opinion, The Martian was awesome. Surprised the hell out of me. I loved it. I would definitely see it again. I think you all should see it. Matt Damon is great. Michael Pena, it's great to see him again. He's a great up-and-coming actor. Jessica Chastain is, great like always. I never really had an opinion on her, but she really won me over in this movie. Everyone else is great, especially Jeff Daniels. That man has range. And, oh, man. Oh, funny fact, in 1999 they made the movie My Favorite Martian, which was a movie adaptation of the, I think it was 1970s TV show? You can correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, that's the internet. Everyone corrects everyone who's wrong. Anyway, in 1999, Disney made a My Favorite Martian movie with Christopher Lloyd as the Martian, and Jeff Daniels was the straight man. Jump to 2015, Jeff Daniels is in The Martian, playing a straight man. There's even one part where the quirky antics of Donald Glover's character are, he's berating his comedic talents in front of Jeff Daniels in a specific scene, and Jeff Daniels just stands there very stone-faced and giving him very serious answers like any director of NASA would. Maybe Donald Glover was the Martian. Not Jeff Daniels' favorite Martian, though. Anyway, back to the point at hand. The Martian was great. Amazing. In my opinion, The Martian was amazing. I implore all of you to see it. I can't remember the last time I walked out of a movie just so, full of life and happy. And I hope it makes you feel the same way. Guys and gals, thanks again for watching. I really appreciate it. You can follow me on Twitter at jgreen89. That's J-A-Y, green, like the color, 89. And while you're at it, listen to my podcast, Blah Blah Podcast. You can find it on iTunes if you search Blah Blah Podcast or Blah Blah Productions. Me and a bunch of my friends talk about movie entertainment news, current events, and just a lot of bullshit, and it's a lot of fun. I think you'd like it. So listen to my podcast, tweet me whenever you want. I'm always on Twitter. Leave me a comment down below, and tune in next time.